Oh, hi, y'all. Welcome to Nikki's World, where my podcast show will give you viewpoints and insight that others will not give. I'll talk about like what's current, what's on the news, what is out there, and I will always cite sources and I always cite facts and news links so y'all know what I'm actually talking about. I give you my viewpoints and opinions, and if you want to hear what I have to say, what's on my mind and all that, I let y'all into my world and let y'all hear and listen to what I'm thinking and what's going through my mind. So if you love stuff like that, tune into Nikki's World twice a week, where you'll get 2-3 podcast episodes a week on what I talk about and what's on my mind. So thanks for listening, and let's get on with the show, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, y'all? Let's do this. Oh, hi guys. Welcome to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host, and today, guys, I want to talk to you about the Daniel Penny effect and why it has a chilling effect on bystanders intervening and helping people in times of crisis and all that. I want to tell you why this is going to have a chilling effect, and I'm going to show you some recent stories out of New York City. But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, seriously, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I am on locals, guys. If you guys want to support and sponsor Nikki's World, if you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, please hit that like, subscribe. Please give me a review. Good, bad, and the ugly. Also, guys, I do have a bunch of affiliate links, okay? First off is minds.com. If you guys value freedom of speech like I do, guys, you guys can sign up for minds.com, which is an alternative to Facebook. Okay, so if you don't like Mark Zuckerberg and his censorship policies, you guys can sign up and join me on minds.com. Also, guys, I do have a link with burner.com. So if you guys value your right to defend yourself in a less lethal manner, you guys can buy a burner pistol in the link in the description below. And full disclaimer, guys, I do own a burner LE pistol myself, so I am a burner owner. And if you guys know anyone that wears adult diapers like I do, guys, you guys can buy adult diapers from North Shore Medical Supply. Links in the description below. And before we get this show on the road, literally, guys, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nikki's World, seriously, y'all, please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today. Woo wee wow. Yeah, that was a mouthful, man. That was a mouthful. And sorry about the absence from the last time I podcasted to y'all. I was busy at work, the holidays, everybody was taking off on vacation and all that. Work has been, let's just say, so stressful on pins and needles. It's like yesterday or this morning I left work, I was so stressed out because after just sitting a one to one with someone who basically was so out of control, so agitated. He was like trying to walk out and all this stuff. And I was like doing my job, but then he goes back to the unit and then accuses me of something that I didn't even do. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Sometimes I think it's best to live the American dream and do your own business instead of working for someone else. I think it's better that way, you know. But that's another whole topic and a whole other story. But other than that, I'm just doing well, doing fine. I'm just trying to catch up on life itself so I can get ready podcasting to y'all, get a next episode out. And I am going to try to revamp the format so that way I can get it to you guys out more often and be able to do more things. One thing I do want to talk about before we get on with the show, guys, I am looking at selling my pictures of all my photo shoots online. I am looking at setting up a shop on BentBox. So if you guys want to buy my photos and buy the rights to my photos, I will set up a BentBox shop and you guys can buy it off that too, okay? So anyway, I want to talk about the Daniel Penny effect, okay? Why it's become chilling, okay? Here's the reason for that. Daniel Penny was found not guilty in like the chokehold of Jordan Neely, okay? The jury couldn't find him guilty. But the chilling effect is that people are now hesitant to help people because they're afraid that they're going to get jammed up by a Soros or a liberal backed DA who's going to say, like this, oh, well, he had every right to do this. Well, you need to go to prison for life. That's why people now, instead of helping, they're just taking or as I call it, their dumb phone, and then just taking a TikTok, Snapchat, or Facebook or Instagram live stream, and then just live streaming what's going on instead of just intervening, helping, calling the cops, and then trying to separate them two. That all ended with the Daniel Penny verdict. And now, because of that, you have that story out of New York where this one young woman who was sitting there minding her own business got burned to alive to death by a Guatemalan illegal immigrant who should have never been in this country in the first place. Now he's being charged with murder, in my opinion. He's a prime example of why the death penalty should be imposed, why the death penalty via firing squad should be imposed. The fact that you got liberal Democrats in this country right now who are basically allowing, like, who knows what to flood into the country and say, hey, the door's open, come on in. But then, like Trump said, they're not sending their best. They're sending their worst. They're sending their criminals. They're rapists. They're murderers. They're gangsters. Okay, they're domestic terrorists. They're not sending the best and brightest. And Trump's right about this. They're not sending their best and brightest, ladies and gentlemen. They're sending their worst. And this is what we're seeing in this country is that people don't want to intervene to help your fellow citizen because they're afraid that they're going to be treated like Daniel Penny through the legal system because the legal system is all made up of what? Socialist, progressive, communist, liberal prosecutors who basically bend the knee to the criminal while jamming up the law-abiding citizen who's just doing their job, doing their citizen duty to help a fellow citizen. The chilling effect is, guys, and I'm gonna say this, I'm an EMT myself, is that many of us aren't gonna want to intervene because we're afraid that we're gonna get sued. We're afraid that we're gonna get jammed up in the legal court system where some of us don't have high priced, high paid lawyers to come in and say, they'll say this and this and this. I'm sorry, man. Libs, you own this shit. You own this shit. People like that Guatemalan illegal immigrant should have never been in the country in the first place. People like Jordan Neely should have been in a mental institution or in a prison. It's that simple. But the problem is, you have the woke, retarded left who is all about rights, feelings, and all this shit. But then but then put that in reality, that don't match up. That don't fly. That don't swing. It doesn't. The fact of the matter is, guys, the fact of the matter is, you have people like Daniel Penny who did the right thing, who stood up until the cops showed up, who did his citizen duty, but then all of a sudden gets jammed up by Alvin Bragg Twinkies, the Manhattan DA, saying, oh, he murdered Jordan Neely. He needs to go to the fucking prison for the rest of his life. And then next thing you know, thank God for the jury trial system that we have in this country. Jury came back and said, Jordan Neely did the right thing. He stopped him from causing harm. Even the witnesses that were put on the stand said that Jordan Neely did the right thing. I mean, not Jordan Neely. Daniel Penny did the right thing. Okay? But Jordan Neely, okay, he was just being a pain in the ass, a jackass. He had mental health and criminal issues. But because of the liberal Democrat policies, instead of keeping him locked up, they let him go. And I go like this. We need more Kyle Rittenhouse, more Daniel Pennies, and less Jordan Neely's in this world. That's what we need. We need more Kyle Rittenhouses, more more Daniel Pennies, and less Jordan Neely's. We need that. But the problem is, we have progressive liberals who are entrenched in blue states who literally, in my opinion, guys, will let people like walk away from jail and say, oh no, these people need mental health. No, they don't need mental health. Many of these people, I'm gonna say this full disclaimer, guys. I work as a psych tech for a hospital in the state of Connecticut. Okay? And I will tell you this flat out front. I see the liberal policies in effect. I see the liberal policies that are harming society in the worst fucking way. I see the liberal policies, okay? What's happening in New York is mirroring across the country in blue cities and in blue states where they're going soft on crime. They're being so lenient to them, even if they're beating the crap out of their mommy and their daddy, their family, or their neighbor, or someone in town. They're going, oh, it's because of their mental health. They need a social worker. They need a psychiatrist. No, fuck. They need to learn to take responsibility and ownership for their shit. They need to learn to be more responsible. They really do. The fact of the matter is, guys, you got people who are literally, ladies and gentlemen, who are literally letting these people get away scot free. You literally have them like getting away with basically bloody murder. And I've seen this as a psych tech at a hospital. People like Jordan Neely, in my opinion, should have been locked up in prison or should have been civilly committed. But then the problem is, you got leftists who are saying their rights, their rights, their feelings, their rights, their rights, their feelings, their rights, their feelings, their rights, their feelings, their rights, their feelings. But then, the larger picture is, what about their safety? What about society and the community safety? What about that? What about that, folks? They don't care because all they care about is their civil rights or human rights, but they don't care about safety. Safety becomes the back burner and only becomes forefront whenever there's something like what happened with Jordan Neely and Daniel Penny. That becomes a big issue. But then other than that, they just go like this. We don't care about safety. We all care about like human and civil rights and their feelings. Well, what about our safety? What about the safety of the citizens, the visitors, the tourists? We it's like safety takes a back burner in blue cities and states. That's why for example, in the case of that poor woman in New York who got burned alive to death by a Guatemalan illegal immigrant, where was her safety? Where was the MTA police? Where was the NYPD? The only time they came was after she was burned alive to the ground, and then you had like this bystanders who were standing there doing this on their phone saying, "Oh, look at this, what's happening in New York on TikTok, on Facebook, on X, on Snapchat," instead of intervening because they're afraid of being jammed up by the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg Twinkies, because they're afraid of having to go through the damn legal system if they did something to help that poor woman who's now dead and her parents have to bury her. She's never going to see Christmas. She's never going to see everything in life thanks to the Democrats soft on immigration, open borders mentality bullshit. You know what, Democrats? I'm gonna say this right here on the podcast show. You own this mess. You own this. Every time a citizen dies at the hands of illegal immigrants, you own this. You own this mess. You own it. So you're responsible for it. That's why every time I see a news article that an illegal immigrant murdered someone, raped, mugged, beat, assaulted someone, I'm gonna say like this: Democrats, you own this, right? You own this. That's yours, right? That's your mess. Won't you? I don't see you coming there and cleaning it up. But you want to be all open borders, allowing illegal immigration, allowing everyone to flood the world. But then you got this in New York City. You got stories out of what NY Post almost every goddamn freaking day, where you hear somebody getting raped, robbed, mugged, beat, murdered on the subway. And then here's a $64,000 question I want to ask. Where were the guardian angels? Where were Curtis Leewall's guardian angels? Where the fuck were they? I mean, back then they would be riding the subway, and these people would literally be strong arming them and then handing them over to the police. Where were they? That's all I want to know. Where Where were the guardian angels? Because they should. If the guardian angels was on that subway when that happened, that woman would have been alive today, and that guy would have been handed over to the police officers. Or they would have held him until the cops showed up, and the cops would have took him into jail. But then, knowing that the liberal judges, the liberal prosecutors, they're gonna be like, oh well, we need to be more kinder, gentler. We need to let them go so they can learn to integrate in society. No, dude, these people need to be thrown in jail, and if they're illegal, they need to be deported, like Tom Homan said. They need to be gone, literally. Put on a boat, put on a plane, and deport them. It's that simple. And deport them. And then we need to build a wall. And I don't care if liberals say walls are racist and all that. Walls keep our country secure. And I go like this. If walls are racist, why does Israel have a wall with Egypt? Explain that to me, libs. Explain that to me. Why does South Korea have a wall with Korea? Explain that to me, libs. Explain it to me. I like to hear I like to hear your explanation. But the fact of the matter is, guys, we have a crisis in this country. We have a crisis because we have unchecked, unfeathered, illegal immigration in this country where we have people in this country right now who should not even be in this country. And then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we have people in this country who are afraid to help because you got district attorneys like Alvin Bragg Twinkies who will jam your ass up if you help them in stopping a crime. Literally. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I carry a burner. I carry a burner pistol. Because even though I have a concealed carry pistol permit, ladies and gentlemen, even though I do have a concealed carry pistol permit, I carry one of these. I carry one of these for a specific reason. Is that you never know when you got people like that Guatemalan illegal immigrant who wants to jam you up, who wants to literally like burn you alive. But then if that woman had a burner pistol or pepper spray, he would have he would have been crying on the floor, bawling his eyeballs out. He would have. But then the problem is liberals in this country have criminalized self-defense. Take Kyle Rittenhouse. They tried to go after him and hang him for defending himself. Take Daniel Penny. He did the right thing while trying to help the subway riders who are getting harassed, harangued, and all this shit with Jordan Neely. He got jammed up in the legal system because he did the right thing. The left in this country, ladies and gentlemen, is criminalizing self defense, is criminalizing bystander intervention. Because these people think that it's their right to be mentally deranged, mentally delusional. Oh, it's their right to be like schizophrenic. Oh, it's their right to have delusions that stuff I hear at the psych units would make y'all puke your brains out. It is. But the fact of the matter is the left is enabling this. The left is enabling this. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a big advocate of your right to self-defense, your right to conceal carry, your right to defend yourself constitutionally. I'm a believer in that. I'm a believer in that because you know why? What would happen if you had to face like a Jordan Neely in public? Well, let's answer this question, guys, and y'all can answer in the comments below. What would you do if you had to face the same scenario that Daniel Penny had to face, and you had to deal with a Jordan Neely? What are you going to have in front of you? What are you going to have next to you, within arm's reach? What are you going to do to stop them? For me, I have my burner LE, and it's a less lethal, guys. It's less lethal for a reason. Because if I were to shoot someone with an actual 9 millimeter, I own the bullet. I own the round. Every lawyer will tell you this. You own the bullet when that bullet leaves the chamber. If a less lethal leaves the chamber, I'm not worried about if it's going to hit someone because all it's going to do is going to hit the either the wall or the intended target and spray a 6 foot cloud of pepper and tear gas to the suspect. And when they walk through that, they're not going to want to deal with that. They're going to want to fall right to the ground and they're going to be crying, bawling. They're going to be like, oh, I can't breathe. Oh. They're going to be like that for 45 minutes until law enforcement shows up. They're going to, and then once police officers show up or the sheriff in your county or jurisdiction, then they're going to take over and they're going to deal with the suspect. And then they're more likely going to take him to jail, charge him, and if he's got more criminal rap sheet, they'll probably charge him as a habitual criminal, and they'll probably keep him locked up for what, 10, 15 years? Yeah, that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I always say, carry something that you know you can use for self-defense. If women don't want to carry a burner pistol or a burner SD, burner makes like a bad guy repellent, which is like a pepper spray in a larger can. They make that. They make the bad guy repellent available. But if you want to carry a burner pistol, like a burner LE or an SD, like I have in my hand, ladies and gentlemen, links in the description below. And please take self-defense courses like like pistol permit courses, or even courses on how to defend yourself in a defensive manner. Like learning how to shoot your burner in different positions. So when the time comes, you're prepared to defend. And I'm a big burner supporter, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I own a burner pistol. I own one. That's why I own something that I can use in a less lethal manner, and I can use that on them. But that's why, ladies and gentlemen, the left criminalizes self defense. And as a result of that, the chilling effect is bystanders are afraid to help because they're afraid they're going to get jammed up by the liberal district attorneys like Alvin Bragg. They're afraid. And then as a result of being afraid, people are going to wind up getting killed, raped, mugged, murdered, or burned alive. Yeah, that's sad. And liberals are okay with that. Liberals liberals sit there in their upper class communities far away from the inner cities, ladies and gentlemen, and they live in affluent towns with well-funded police departments, well-funded school systems, well-funded fire departments, and then they try to impose everything on the middle, or let's start on the the poor, the working class, and the middle class, while they're sitting up high and mighty and all pretty in and there's like $600,000 mini mansion homes in well kept communities while they're imposing their shit on everyone else. Yeah, that's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reality. But I will say this, guys. I will say this. What happened to Jordan Neely, he should have never been let out in society. But because you have liberal social workers, liberal psychologists, liberal psychiatrists, and liberal doctors who won't medicate these people heavily. I'll give you a scary fact that I've heard while working as a psych tech from a psych nurse that told me this. Psychiatric professions today are very conservative when it comes to medicating people like Jordan Neely. They don't want to over medicate these people, but instead they go conservative. And then as a result of that, you see people like Jordan Neely in this, like roaming the streets in the community. But then the left is saying, well, it's their rights, their civil right. We as a citizen, we as a society should allow them to roam in the city street. Let them pander with their delusions, their mental illnesses and all that. Well, I'm gonna say this to the dumb fucking blue-haired liberal with their they them pronouns. Okay, what about your safety? How safe do you feel walking the city, walking the streets where you live, knowing that you have people like Jordan Neely and no Daniel Pennies protecting your right? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Me, I have my burner LE pistol. I have my burner LE. I have kinetic rounds. All my first rounds are kinetic. My second rounds are My second rounds are the pepper rounds because that way, if they if they try to go if they go through the kinetic rounds, if the pain compliance is not getting them to stop, then the next round I slap into the magazine is the less lethal pepper rounds. And if they get through that and they all of a sudden choke and fall on the ground or trying like that where they can't see, their eyes are watery like that, well then I go like this: let them on the ground, but law enforcement's going to get called. But that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a big supporter of Burner. I am. I'm the biggest supporter of it for one reason, guys, because I believe in the right of self-defense. I believe in the right to do it in a safe manner. I believe like there should be options. I believe that you should have the option of defending yourself. Where liberals go, oh no, you should let them rape you, rob you, murder you, like break into your house because they were poor. You were more privileged than them. Bullshit, bullshit. The left hates personal responsibility. That's why they allow people like Jordan Neely out in the society, and that's why we have people like Daniel Penny and Kyle Rittenhouse. That's why. The chilling effect is this, guys. Bystanders are going to be afraid to help because because it's not the cops that they're afraid of, and this is the reality here, ladies and gentlemen. The cops don't throw you in jail. It's the prosecutors and the courts that do. All the cops do is come in, respond to the incident, and if they have to make an arrest, they make an arrest, and then they present their case to the prosecutor, and it's the prosecutor's office who convicts you. The cops, all they have to say is, well, you're under arrest for this and this and this. You'll have to show up in court for this and this and this. But then it's the prosecutor who has to make the conviction and the detectives who have to investigate it. And here's a side thing, guys. The detectives in the police department, they're paid by the police department, but they work for the prosecutor. Their sole job is to help the prosecutor build the case and then get more information on the case to make sure that it either sticks or the prosecutor can say, "Well, let me take this to a grand jury. Whatever evidence we have, I'm gonna take it to a grand jury and let the grand jury decide whether the case moves forward or the case just ends right there." It's that simple. So a lot of people who think, "Oh no, well, I got arrested and all this. Now I got to go to jail." You're not convicted at the moment. You are charged, but then you do have a right to due process. That means you do have a right at arraignment to show up at arraignment and say, and the judge has to read whatever you were charged with, and then they have to decide whether you can have bail, or if the charge is so severe, they'll say, well, we have to remand you until your outcome of your case. So that means you're in pretrial status, which means you're waiting for the outcome of your case. Yeah, you really are. But the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on in New York City and the Daniel Penny effect is largely going to have an impact throughout the entire country. It don't matter where you live. You could live in a blue state, you could live in a red state. It don't matter. But what matters is if you were helping a citizen or a bystander who was getting raped, robbed, beaten up, murdered, your biggest fear because of Daniel Penny is, am I going to get jammed up in the legal system just because I helped stop an armed robbery or someone about to get raped, robbed, or torched on fire? Am I going to get jammed up? That's what's that's what's going to happen now. People are going to be afraid to help, and all they're going to do is sit on their dumb phones on the side recording the incident. And yeah, you may be giving them evidence to the court, but what are you doing to stop the crime? What are you doing to help the citizen out? That's what's scary, ladies and gentlemen. That is what's scary. And it's really that scary that now, because of what happened in New York, everybody's going to be afraid to help. Everybody's going to be afraid to intervene because they're going to be afraid that they're going to be jammed up in the legal system. They are. That's why, like this, what happened to that poor woman who got torched alive to death by a Guatemalan illegal immigrant, he should have never been in this country in the first place. But because of the dumb, fucking, stupid, retarded liberal policies allowed this, now he's going to be a prison inmate in the state of New York for the rest of his life, where he should have been deported and or basically executed. Yeah, I'm all for bringing back the death penalty and then making the death penalty by a firing squad. Make people fear, make criminals fear the executioner. Or as I say, make criminals fear the firing squad. It's that simple. I'm all for it. Yeah, there are some people who deserve life without parole. That's where the trial system's for. If the trial system bears out that you deserve the death penalty, you deserve the death penalty. But if there's some mitigating circumstances that say, well, there was some circumstances, this and this, and it was all bore out in court, then you deserve life without parole. Yeah, it may be a death, it may be like a death penalty, but it'll be a slow, painful death penalty. It'll be a slow way of dying in prison. You'll never see freedom, no matter how badly it is. You'll never see the light of day. You'll never. But that's the reality. That pretty much is, guys. That pretty much is. But in any case, guys, in any case, I do want to say this, guys. The Daniel Penny effect is scary. It is because after those stories in New York, it makes you wonder, do you really want to help these people out? Do you really want to like whip out your burner LE or SD and help stop a criminal, knowing that everything that you do correctly, that you can be jammed up in the legal system, that you can be put in jail just for doing the right thing? Is this what the liberals want in this country? Is this what they want? If that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say like this. It's time for people to arm up. Make concealed carry and open carry great again. Okay? It's that simple. Make concealed carry, open carry great again. One thing I want to say is like this also. It's time to bring back the 1990s era crime bill. Where back in the 90s, where most of my listeners probably don't remember, it was that 1990s, there was like a war, a gang war throughout the entire country. Gangs were going to war against each other. And if you were caught in in the crossfire of a gang war, oh man, I felt sorry for y'all. But now, ladies and gentlemen, you got crime that is spiraling out of control, that is going like insane. People are robbing stores. Security guards can't do anything because they're afraid that if they did the right thing, that they would be arrested and prosecuted by the district attorney, not by the police department. Yeah, that's why it's like this. Some security guards in New York City will just stand there. They'll just stand in the corner like this and just watch the whole thing go because they're afraid that if they intervene, that the prosecutor in that state will come after them saying, "Well, why'd you intervene? Why'd you stop the criminal from doing what he wanted to do?" That's why a lot of security guards don't intervene in New York City. A lot of security guards like say, "I'm not doing this job. Sorry, I'm not doing this. I'm not getting involved." Yeah, mhm. That's what's happening. That's why it's like this. You got a lot of bystanders who will just free willy whip out their dumb phone and record the incident just for viral likes, clicks, and all this shit. But instead of intervening and helping them, that's that's the the chilling effect of Daniel Penny. That's the chilling effect. The chilling effect is that you got bystanders who will just walk on and going, well, I'm not going to get involved because if I get involved, I'm gonna. What are the chances of the district attorney sending cops to my house to have me bench arrested for doing the right thing? This is what libs want, and this is what libs get. And I tell liberals, you get what you voted for. It's like the Pottery Barn rule. You broke it, you own it. It's that simple. They broke it, they now own it. They 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 broke this country, they own the mess. So let them cry, let them complain that, oh, we didn't want this. We wanted everyone in this country. We wanted everyone to come into this country. Well, you wanted everyone in this country, including what? Thugs, criminals, rapists, murderers. You wanted people who basically light people up on fire and burn them for no apparent reason. Yeah, but then you live in what? Upper class communities with well funded police departments, well funded fire departments, high price lawyers who will protect your ass. Hmm. Telling you, man. Telling you. This is why I tell people like this. All the liberal cities like what? New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Boston, LA, San Francisco, Oakland, Seattle, Portland, I won't even step foot in them. It'll be like this. It'll be considered a what? A no-go zone. Even if I was traveling through, I would just travel through and not stop in that city. I would just be like this. No, we're not stopping there. We're just gonna keep going through. And then once we go through, we get away from them. That's why, guys, I will never step foot in New York City. Because why? Because my safety would be in jeopardy. I wouldn't step foot in there. Even if I was traveling on an Amtrak train, I would stay on the train to make sure that they don't come near me. I would. I literally would. The fact of the matter is, guys, and I want to say this, is that what what Daniel Penny did to stop Jordan Neely is a result of Democrat policies allowing people like Jordan Neely, who should have been either locked up in a mental institution or locked up in jail. Democrat policies allowed this shit to happen, and as a result, this is what we're seeing. Democrat liberal policies festered, allowed this, enabled this, voted for this, and this is the result of what they've done. This is the result of their policies, what they did to people in this country. This is the result of their screw up, their fuck up, their policies. This is what their policies allowed. And sad to say, their policies allowed this shit to fester. Their policies allowed people like Jordan Neely to run wild without any psych social help because the liberals say, oh, well, that's their human and civil right. What about our safety? What about our safety? This is why, ladies and gentlemen, this country, they don't care about your safety. The only time they care about your safety is the aftermath of a mass shooting or horrific crime. That's when they start caring about safety. Safety becomes a back burner issue when it should become the forefront. When the two S's, safety and security, should be at the forefront instead of the back burner. It should be, and it should. But the fact of the matter is, guys, you got people who voted for like allowing illegal immigrants in this country, voting for allowing like the criminals and mentally ill like Jordan Neely to roam free and to allow their delusions to fester around the community, all while throwing safety and security out the door. Yeah, it is. It's that simple. It is. But that's why, like this, guys, I work at a psych hospital. I'm not gonna name where, okay? But I'm just gonna say I work for a psych hospital. And I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. I have seen people like Jordan Neely who, in effect, belong in prison. And there are some people I've seen in psych hospitals, ladies and gentlemen, where they don't, where they will use going to a psych facility as a get out of jail card. And that's because you have liberal social workers, liberal doctors, liberal psychologists, and liberal psychiatrists who will justify to the moon that, oh, these people have bipolar this, and then you see the underlining that what they did, they should have been charged with a crime. But the legal system is being so soft with them and saying that, well, they need to be treated in a mental facility. They don't need to be treated behind bars. But then these are the liberal policies that enable people like Jordan Neely to do these things, and why we had people like Daniel Penny who put a stop to it. Yeah, it's that simple. It's why I tell people, guys, psych has become the 21st century of corrections of the legal system. Instead of them taking responsibility, okay, and getting them in a facility where they can be treated like in a jail. Okay, and mind you, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm all for turning jails into psychiatric prisons. I'm all, f- I'm all for it. I'm all for it because you know why? Let the legal system sort out who needs to be in prison and who needs psychiatric prisons. I'm all for it because you know why? At least psychiatric prisons, it's safe, secure, okay, and they know that they can get treated in a secure manner instead of like putting them in a psychiatric hospital and then all of a sudden they're using that psychiatric hospital and abusing the system where actual people who actually need it are getting left out in the damn fucking cold. Yeah, it's really that simple. It really is, guys. It really is. But I will say this to y'all guys, right? Is that Jordan Neely is an emblematic and systematic failure of this country and is directly tied to the liberal policies that the Democrats, the left, the liberals, the socialists, and communists voted for. It is. It is their policies that allowed people like Jordan Neely and people like that Guatemalan illegal immigrant to run wild in this country, and safety and security are all put in the back burner because of that. Yeah, pretty much is, guys. It pretty much is. It pretty much is. Yeah. Wow, that was a good show. Yeah, that was a good show for y'all guys. That was literally a good show. Okay. Yeah, and before we go, guys, I know I have a photo shoot coming up. I know I am working on putting my photo shoots on BentBox. So if your people want to buy pictures of it or rights to the pictures or license to it, I will put that up there. I am going to be trying to do more podcasting in the spring and possibly, ladies and gentlemen, look for another line of work after the holidays. I'm going to take the holidays off after New Year's. I'm going to be looking for another line of work to go to. So I will be looking at that as well. So I'm hoping after the New Year's, I have a job lined up and I have like a working towards my master's degree in social work. All right. So anyway, guys, I thank you for listening to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host. I will see y'all soon, and bye for now. You just listened to an episode of Nikki's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.